Welcome to the School of Consciousness. This morning, we're going to be talking about nervous system health, how to regulate your nervous system, how to stay in a nice, calm, rest and digest mode of the nervous system. Oftentimes, a lot of the struggles that are caused in our life when it comes to stress and anxiety, and being overwhelmed, overthinking things, being tense and under pressure. A lot of the time, that's coming from when we're in this fight or flight mode. So we're going to talk about the nervous system today. We're going to talk about these two main modes, the fight or flight mode and the rest and digest mode. We're also going to talk about stress and how stress impacts your nervous system and your health. We're going to talk about the different types of stress because there are different types of stress. There's physical stress. The three main kinds of stress are physical stress, chemical stress, and then mental and emotional stress. So we're going to talk about all of those as well. But it's so important that we learn about the nervous system because when we learn to understand our internal systems, we can start to understand why we do the things that we do, why we start to feel the way that we feel. And we can start to, when we can understand that, we can start to focus on the solutions and focus on how to actually heal, how to actually come into a nice state of calm and balance, which is really one of the most important things that you can have in life. I think it's very underrated how how valuable it is to just be calm and balanced within your own body. It's got to be one of the most important things for decision making and just for general life happiness as well. So we're going to talk about all of those things today. And I thought we could start just with a little bit of an exercise to help us come down into a nice resting mode. You might already be in that mode right now. You might have just woken up and you might be quite calm. But maybe you haven't. Maybe you've had a coffee and you've started to spike your adrenals and your stress. So either way, we're going to do just a short breath work practice just to help us bring this down. And this breath work practice is something that you can actually take away from this session and use anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, anytime you're feeling highly stressed or anxious. You can use this very simple breath work practice that I'm going to teach you, and it will automatically start to calm down your nervous system and move you back into that resting and digesting mode. So it's called the double exhale, and it's a really simple breathwork practice. It's great if you've got anxiety. I've used this breathwork practice with people while they're having panic attacks or while they're having anxiety attacks. And if you ever experience an anxiety attack or a panic attack, you know that it can be quite overwhelming and you can start to hyperventilate and your whole body tenses up and you go into sometimes you can go into like a freeze mode where you just have to stop. It almost feels like you're dying, and you think at that in that moment that you could be dying. So if you ever experience that, it's really horrible. I don't wish it upon anyone. But one of the ways that you can bring yourself out of that is by using this double exhale. So the point of the double exhale is to double the length of the exhale in comparison to the inhale. So for example, if we're breathing in for 4 seconds, we'll breathe out for 8 seconds. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a 4-second inhale through the nose, and then we're going to breathe out through pursed lips for 8 seconds. And we're going to do that 4 times. So 4 seconds on the inhale coming in through the nose, 8 seconds through the mouth. Nice and slow exhale. And then 4 seconds in and 8 seconds out, 4 in, 8 out, 4 in, 8 out. And what I want you to really focus on with this specific practice is releasing the tension and the stress out of your body as you exhale. So the exhale is like the letting go of the breath, but we want to actually let go of all of the stress, all of the tension, all of the pressure in the body as well. So you can use the breath as the vehicle for actually letting go of all the tension, all the pressure in the body. And this is great because you can do it anywhere. You can do it on the bus. You can do it, around crowded people. You don't need to close your eyes. You can close your eyes if you want to, but you don't need to. It does help to tune in to close your eyes, and I'm going to close my eyes this morning. But I just wanted to mention that you can do this without closed eyes as well. So if you'd like to join me now, you can just close down your eyes. Relax back into your seat or your chair or wherever you are. And just take a gentle 4-second inhale through the nose. So breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1, and breathing out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1, and breathing out. Nice, slow exhale through the mouth. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another breath in, breathing in for 4 through the nose, breathing in deeply into the belly. 3, 2, 1. And breathing out for 8, 7, 6. Letting go of all the tension, all the pressure in the body. 2, 1. And final breath, 4 seconds in. And 8 seconds out. And then you can just return to your natural rhythm of breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. So what that should have done is help you come into a nice calm state. So just drop a comment in the chat box below. You can drop just 111 or yes, and let me know if that actually worked. If you felt a physiological change in your body just from those 4 breaths, you can just drop it in the chat box below, just so I've got a gauge of if that worked for you or not. It usually does. So what that's done is it's put us into the resting and digesting mode. That long exhale, it stimulates a part of your body called the vagus nerve, and that actually relaxes you down into the resting, digesting mode of your nervous system. So the other side of the nervous system is called the fight and flight mode. You might have heard of this: fight, flight, freeze. That's when you're more activated. Right? It's a more activated side of the nervous system, and that usually comes from a few different ways. Right? Commonly, it's coming from high stress, or adrenaline, or fear. If you are perceiving that there is a threat in your environment, that's when you can switch over into the fight and flight mode. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a real threat. It can just be a perceived threat. So these days, right, it might be like if you work in the city and you're walking around the city and there's just millions of people everywhere and there's cars honking their horns and it's all happening and you're feeling quite stimulated and quite stressed just from being in that busy environment, that could trigger you into the fight or flight mode, right? For example, another way you could do it is if someone was actually threatening you, or if you were perceiving in your mind that there was a threat. So this is what happens with people with anxiety, right? Usually people with anxiety in their mind are perceiving that there is a threat or they're afraid of something. There's fear-driven thinking, which creates a response in the body. So in their mind, they're perceiving that there's a threat, and that thought then sends a signal down to the body saying that there's a threat and you need to be afraid and you need to be in like that fight or flight mode, ready to run or ready to fight. And that will signal different chemicals like the stress and the adrenaline. They will spike, and then if that goes too high, you can start to have an anxiety attack or a panic attack. Right? It's basically just a fear attack. Right. And so back in the day when we were developing, like when our species was developing and we lived out in nature, we needed those response systems in our body because there would be actual threats. in the environment. There would be animals, or there would be the other tribe, or there would be certain things that would actually elicit that kind of response. And that kind of response can actually be a very good thing. Right? A lot of people have this the fight and flight mode is actually demonized quite a lot because people think it's like really bad, don't want to be in fight or flight mode. It's actually not. It's very helpful if you're using it in the right way. So for example, if you're going to the gym to do a big workout, right, and you switch, adrenaline kicks in and you're lifting weights or you're going for a run, that can be very helpful. Even if you're playing like a game of tennis or something like that, your adrenaline spikes and you're moving around the court and you're ready to go. That's happening when you're in the fight or flight mode, right? So the fight or flight mode is not necessarily bad. It's just that we need to learn how to control it and we need to use it effectively, as opposed to when it's being triggered and it doesn't need to be triggered. Right. And that's all happening from our internal systems, our internal stress, our ability to manage our stress and our adrenaline and uh, yeah, our own nervous system essentially. So when it comes to actually different ways to manage your nervous system health, one of the most important things is sleep. Right. So we're going to talk about meditation today as well. Meditation is a great way to reduce stress and adrenaline and control your nervous system. But one of the most important things that a lot of people struggle with is just sleep. And I've recently got one of these Whoop bands. So I've been tracking my sleep recently. And one thing that I've noticed is quite interesting. They say you need about 8 hours sleep, but if you just get 8 hours sleep and you go to bed let's say you go to bed at 10 and you wake up at 6, usually you're not going to get, that's not 8 hours sleep, right? Because you probably spend half an hour getting to sleep. And then even when you are asleep, you still have wake periods during the night, even if you don't realize it. I was amazed at how much I'm actually awake at night, even when I don't remember being awake, right? And then also a majority of your sleep will just be light sleep. And then only a little bit will be deep sleep or REM sleep, which is actually the recovery sleep that you need. So what I've realized with this thing is that I should actually be aiming to have at least 9 hours in bed. So going to bed, for example, at 9 and waking up at 6. Because even if I have 9 hours sleep, I'll probably only have 8 hours sleep if you take into account, the waking periods. And then you want to maximize your time asleep because that's when you can maximize your deep sleep and your REM sleep, which is the recovery sleep that you actually need. The light sleep is not as helpful for recovery as the deep sleep. So you need more time in that deep sleep. So one of the first things that I would recommend to people is having a consistent bedtime routine where you're going to bed at the same time every night, and then you're waking up the same time every day. So for me, that usually right now it looks about like 9 and 6. Go to bed at 9, wake up at 6. Now it doesn't always work out like that. I have an 18-month-old daughter. So, for example, last night I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, walking her around the block to get her back to sleep. But yeah, so there's obviously things that affect your sleep that are outside of your control. But if you can just aim to get a consistent sleep routine, consistent bedtime and a consistent wake time, and make sure that you're getting, even like 8 to 9 hours, because just to put that buffer on the end, right? Obviously 8 hours is what everyone recommends. But having a little bit of extra on to just buffer, like because you might take a little while to get to sleep and then you might take a little while to wake up as well. So give yourself a bit of a buffer because that's going to help you have a longer time in bed and a better sleep overall. So that's sleep. And when you're sleeping properly and that'll allow your body to recover properly, right? Your body needs recovery to be able to stay in a nice, relaxed state and a nice focused state, concentrated, productive state. It needs the proper amount of sleep. So a consistent sleep routine is the first thing to get dialed in if you haven't dialed in that already. Now, if you struggle with sleep and you actually find it hard to sleep, then the next thing I would recommend is obviously some physical exercise, but also meditation. get a consistent meditation routine in, because in meditation, what happens is you actually move yourself towards a similar state to sleep, right? So if you do a 20-minute meditation, you can get yourself into this nice, calm, relaxed state where all of your body's systems are relaxed and calm. Your stress will come down, your adrenaline will come down, and your body will come into this resting state, and which is quite akin to sleep. I've been over to India to do a yoga retreat, a yoga and a meditation retreat in India, and some of the gurus over there, they barely sleep at all. They sleep. Our guru, I was talking to him. He's like a meditation teacher and yoga teacher. He slept for 2 hours a day, so he didn't sleep much, but he meditated a lot. He would spend most of his time just in meditation. So he didn't even need sleep because he was recovering consistently through his meditation practice. So this guy was probably spending like 6 to 8 hours a day in meditation. And because of that, he didn't really need a lot of sleep because he was already recovered. His systems, his internal systems, his nervous system, everything was already getting the rest that it needed through the meditation. So meditation, even just 20 minutes a day, 10 to 20 minutes in the morning or 10 to 20 minutes at night, or even both in the morning and at night, that will radically increase your chances of getting a better sleep, and will also start to prime your body into that resting state. And so with the meditation, it can just be something as simple as sitting down and closing your eyes and focusing on breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And with meditation, what happens is your mind starts to go crazy and thinks about all these kinds of different things. What you want to do is gently just come back to the present moment. So if you sit down, you start breathing, and then you get lost in your thoughts, and then you take a breath, come back to the present, and then you get lost in your thoughts, and then you take a breath, come back to the present. And that's the whole practice. There's nothing more than that. People often will find that I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. I can't really do it. But you're just overthinking it if that's what you're thinking, because it's just about consistently coming back to the present moment, right? That's it. Again and again and again, just coming back to the present moment. That's the whole practice. So as long as you're sitting down, and even if you sit down for 10 minutes and you only become present for one, even just once, right? Even if you just sit down for 10 minutes and you become present just once and you hold it for 1 second, that's enough. And then maybe you do it again and you come back and you become present twice and you hold it for 2 seconds. That would be enough, because that's the practice, that's the training. And so you do that consistently, and eventually you get better and better and better and better and better. And you can control your mind, you can control your thinking so that you don't get too much anxious thoughts, so that you don't start to perceive that there's threats everywhere when there's not. And you can start to become calm and relaxed and rested in your own body. Because when you don't have control of your mind, that's when you get the anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm, because you're thinking about all the problems. And in your mind, it feels like they're true. But when you actually look around in reality, there actually are no problems in the present moment. So all the problems that you're thinking are just all made up. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if he does this? What if she does that? And it's always just this either future thinking about things that just haven't even happened, or thinking about the past, or thinking about what about that thing that I did, and what will so and so think of me for doing that thing, or what are they thinking about me, or what are they thinking about me, or it's always this kind of like very self-centered thinking that's based in the future or the past, and usually it's not true, like it's not even real. But we think it's real because we're thinking it in our mind. But if we take a second to just become present, we realize, oh, actually, it's not really real right now. And so it's when you're in meditation, you learn how to trust yourself, and you learn how to find a sense of safety within yourself. And that sense of safety that you find inside yourself, and that sense of trust that you find inside yourself, it helps you to move away from fear-driven thinking, away from anxious thinking, and towards more trusting, calm, safe thinking. And when you're thinking those thoughts like safe, calm, trusting, stress is down, adrenaline is down in the body, the nervous system can rest. So your thoughts are so powerful, right? Your thoughts have energy. Your thoughts affect your body. People think that thoughts are just like, oh, what are thoughts? Where do they come from? Who knows? And they're not that important. They are. They're so important. Your thoughts. If you were to think a fear-driven thought about something that could happen to you, like let's just use an example. Let's just say for some reason, the bank freezes all of your accounts. And in 1 hour, the bank is going to freeze all of your accounts. Now, if I told you in 1 hour the bank's going to freeze all of your accounts, and you believe me, and you started thinking, oh my God, the bank's going to freeze all my accounts in 1 hour, you're going to start to get stressed. You're going to start to get a heightened sense of adrenaline because you're going to feel like you're going to lose something. You're going to lose all your money. Then how are you going to survive? And you're going to start thinking like that. That's going to send thought signals down to your body, fear, stress, anxiety, and you're going to start to be in a very anxious state. But if you are thinking differently and you just go, I know that you're full of shit. The bank's not going to freeze my accounts. What are you talking about, you crazy person? And you actually trust that, no, that's not going to happen. You're in this more trusting energy. And you won't have any kind of response in your body because why would you? You don't need to. So this is the power of your thoughts, right? If you think negative, fear-driven, stressed out thoughts, right? That's going to be sent down to the body, and your body's going to experience that. Your body's going to go into that fight or flight state, and you're going to be unbalanced. It's going to be harder for you to make decisions. It's going to be harder for you to think clearly. You're going to feel like tense. Your shoulders might come up, right? If you get too much stress in the body, it starts to create inflammation in the body as well. Too much inflammation in the body can actually start to cause health issues, immune issues. Yeah, especially for women, like women have a lot of stress and anxiety, more so than men, I think, specifically that lead to health issues, right? Now, men have more issues around depression and stuff like that and suicide, but generally women ended up getting different kind of health issues and issues with their gut and yeah, that kind of stuff. So it's all related back to our ability to deal with stress and really control our inner self. Like I said at the beginning, there's physical stress, there is chemical stress, and then there's mental and emotional stress. So physical stress is something like you don't eat well, you eat shit food, and you don't exercise. Right? If you eat shit food and you don't exercise, you will experience physical stress in your body. Chemical stress in your body, right? This can be stuff like alcohol or drugs, or also just adrenaline. Like the adrenaline is a chemical, and also stress, cortisol. That's chemical stress, right? So when you're drinking or when you're smoking or when you're just highly stressed and highly like your adrenal glands so too much coffee, for example, is another one. That's chemical stress. Now, mental and emotional stress is obviously your thoughts and your feelings. And that is, in my opinion, one of the most dangerous ones, mental and emotional stress. Now, obviously, you want to start to tear away all of these you want to get healthy eating and healthy exercise, right? You want to reduce any chemical stress, reduce any like substance abuse or anything like that. And then learn to control your stress as well, which you can do whilst you're also working on this mental and emotional stress. This is why meditation is so helpful, because when you learn how to meditate, you learn how to become connected to your mind and your feelings. You become present to yourself, you get to know yourself, and that's when you can start to control your mind and your emotions. You want to develop mastery over your emotions and your mind. People often these days make the mistake of thinking that just because you're aware of your emotions means you are like emotionally intelligent, which is not true. Just being aware of your emotions is not being emotionally intelligent. Um, Because what happens then is people then say, oh, I'm feeling this way, so I'm going to act like this. So what's happening is their emotions are actually ruling over them. You become the victim to your emotional state. If you feel down, then you act down. If you feel good, you act good, but you don't have any control over your emotions. So you want to be able to take actions and do things despite what you're feeling. So you come over the emotion, right? You come over your thoughts. A lot of people think that they're very smart because they're aware of their thoughts and they're aware of their emotions, but their emotions and their thoughts are over them. They're controlling you as opposed to you controlling them. So that's how you can get control of your mental and emotional stress. It's by practicing something like meditation, getting over your thoughts and emotions, doing things despite what you're thinking or feeling. Now, the thing is, you got to have discernment because you do want to not just keep pushing. Like I'm just going to keep pushing because like even if I'm not feeling good or even if it doesn't feel good, I'm going to keep pushing. No, you have to also have a level of connection to your intuition, and you have to trust that you're actually doing the right thing for yourself. And that's a whole different can of worms. And well, I've done other sessions on how to trust your intuition. I won't dive into that too much here because we're talking about nervous system. So some key points that I've discussed today, right? You've got these two main modes, the rest and digest mode and the fight, flight, or freeze mode. The resting mode is more for recovery. The fight, flight is more for active, like being active and getting things done, right? Now, when the fight or flight mode is activated and it doesn't need to be, that can lead to being overstressed, being overwhelmed, and being anxious, having panic attacks, that kind of stuff. One of the best ways for you to become connected to this rest and digest mode is through a proper sleep routine and also meditation. You can also add in healthy living like physical exercise, eating well, and those kinds of things. And then another thing that's going to be important is to control your stresses. So you've got the physical stress, the chemical stress, and the mental and emotional stress. So we've talked about how to control the physical stress and the chemical stress. So reducing any substances that you're using that are not healthy. Alcohol is not healthy, right? Smoking weed won't help you because it's going to make you avoid your emotions. I talk to a lot of people who smoke weed, and they say, I just like smoking weed because it's nice and relaxing. But smoking weed is actually a coping mechanism, and it's usually for avoiding your emotions. Same with alcohol, same with any drug, really. Even something like caffeine, right? Caffeine is just it kind of sends you into a heightened state, and that can also make you anxious. So be careful of those substances that you're using that are throwing like chemical stresses into the mix. And then finally, mental and emotional stress as well. So getting control of your thoughts and getting control of your feelings, learning how to really master them so that they don't master you. So that's important. Those are the three different types of stresses to get under control. And all of those stresses will affect your nervous system as well. So if you think you have a dysregulated nervous system, then the best way for you to regulate your nervous system is through consistent practice. So consistent sleep routine, consistent meditation, right? Consistent physical exercise, consistent healthy diet. It's really all the basics, right? Getting rid of any of the shit that you're putting into your body that's causing more problems, right? But really just consistency over a long period of time. That's going to heal your nervous system. Now, one of the reasons why I like meditation so much is because I actually believe this is a little kind of like, I guess, a way to end this session. I actually believe that at any moment you can switch your nervous system. And this is why I think meditation is so great, right? Because I believe like I could switch myself into the resting and digesting mode instantly. I could uh, fix my nervous system issues instantly if I had any. And it's just because I honestly believe that the present moment, when you can really connect with the present moment very deeply, you can essentially like open up your whole body. Yeah, like I'm not just talking, open up the cellular structure of your whole body. Right? Release all of the tension and all of the stress in your whole body just through a moment of mindfulness or a moment of present awareness. It's really the doorway to, the doorway to heaven on earth is through your own being. And so when you can learn how to tap into that, that's when you can have inner freedom at the click of a finger. And I really believe that. And so, it's easy for me to say now, I've been meditating for nearly 15 years. And I've been to India and I've seen the yogis and I've learned from them. So I kind of know how it works. And I've had direct experience of what I'm talking to you about now. But the point that I'm trying to make is that this is why it's important to be consistent, because maybe I believe that everyone has that potential in them. Maybe you haven't experienced that yet, but if you keep practicing and if you develop some discipline and a devotion to figuring that out, then you will get there, right? Because what it is essentially is when you can connect with really present awareness. I know I'm going off the end of the woo woo kind of end of the pool right now, but this is an important thing and one of my belief systems that I think will be helpful for you guys. When you can become truly present, you connect with oneness, a feeling and experience of total oneness with everything that is. And that is a very healing place to be. That's essentially the divine, right? The one. And when you're connected to that, because we are all a part of that, we are all a part of the oneness. And so the only thing that keeps us away from it is our own thinking and our own mind and our own ego or identity of like, I am separate to everything else. But when you're in a real deep moment of present awareness, you realize that you're not separate to everything else. You're actually a part of everything else. So you connect to that state of oneness. And in that state of oneness is inherent safety. It's not even a question. You couldn't not be safe. You couldn't not be totally loved and totally safe and so totally trusting. That comes part and parcel with understanding that you are part of the divine, the oneness of everything, the interconnectedness of everything. If you can connect with that, which you can in one moment of present awareness, then your whole being opens up and healing just happens. And I honestly believe that. So that's a bit more off the deep end. But I thought it'd be cool to mention it because it's something to aim for, right? And I know when it comes to healing and when it comes to this path, it's we don't want to be always focused on the problems of, oh, I have this nervous system is fucked up, or I have anxiety issues, or I've got addictions or substance abuse or whatever it is. It's so easy to focus on all the negative things or I've got this dysregulated nervous system. It's so easy to focus on all the negative things. But what we want to do, or what I would love to do, is help you guys have a more positive vision for the future of what's possible. So a healthy nervous system is one thing that's definitely possible for you. But an even more inspiring vision for the future is this connection to a state of oneness. And it's a very beautiful and attractive thing to aim towards. So if you aim towards that, make that your goal, then your health, your nervous system, your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body will all start to synchronize and harmonize into this beautiful state of being. So yeah, that's my deep belief about this kind of work. Everything I talked about before then was all the tangible things like, okay, we got the stresses, we got the nervous system, we got the mental, we got the chemical, we got the physical, and all of those things are part of the process as well, and they're all included in the oneness as well. But if you can just aim for, okay, cool, I'm going to become totally connected to a state of oneness, all of your problems will just dissolve. So I hope that wasn't too much for you guys. I hope you kind of can wrap your head around that because it's pretty powerful stuff. And I hope you got something out of this today. Remember, back to the basics. consistent sleep routine, consistent meditation, eat healthy, exercise, don't put shit into your body. If you can just follow that, then you're on the right track. So thank you guys. Have a beautiful day. Remember to take some deep breaths. Use that double exhale whenever you need to. Perhaps even once we jump off this call right now, you can do a couple of double exhales. Set yourself up for the day. Set your intention for the day. And I will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks.